Hey, I'm Adam. You're watching week 221 of my renovation on Iris Street. Welcome back to my channel. For those just tuning in, I've been converting my garage into a modern woodworking playground. My mom desperately wants me to park my car in here, but I've got other plans. Sorry, Mom. Tonight, I'm drilling holes for the 4-inch gimbal lights that are pre-wired throughout the shop. This little silicone bowl around my drill bit is a clever little invention that catches most of the dust from these cuts. This saves me cleanup, but most importantly, keeps the air cleaner for my lungs. I'll have 2 sets of shop lights in my shop. The large 6-inch can lights have 5000 degree Kelvin lights, which are a whiter color temperature that's best for woodworking, as it allows you to see the wood as it looks naturally without a color bias from the lighting. As you guys know though, I prefer warmer lighting to the tune of around 3000 degrees Kelvin, hence these 4-inch gimbal lights. I'll have 1 light switch to control the large cans for woodworking, and 2 dimmers to control the rows of gimbal lights for evening mood lighting. Now that the shop is insulated, air-conditioned, and lit with more lights than an art gallery, I can really start building out this space and enjoying it. Hey guys, I'm going to try installing a new type of dimmer switch here in the living room tonight. As you know, these LEDs don't dim very low with these existing dimmers. So this is what's called an electronic low voltage dimmer. It does some fancy stuff where it cuts the trailing end of each phase off to achieve a lower dimming range. It's also called reverse phase dimming. You need to make sure your LEDs are compatible with this kind of dimmer, and they're a bit spendy. One of these switches is about $92, so I'm curious to see. My gimbal lights are supposedly compatible with it, so I'm gonna hook one up and let's see how this goes. I've struggled to get the LEDs in my home to dim really low. At night, I love the barely visible glow a halogen bulb can produce, and have been trying to replicate their performance for the past 2 years with LEDs. Honestly, if you guys know what I'm doing wrong to get my LEDs to dim that low, please let me know in the comments. Back in the woodshop, I'm wiring up the remaining light switches. This 4-gang bank is actually for the adjacent sunroom, as I decided I wanted some gimbal lights out there too. During the garage remodel, it was the perfect time to add some lights out there. It's not ideal having light switches for one room and another room, but it was basically this or rip out some drywall in the sunroom, which I wasn't gonna do. Anyways, there are 4 light switches in here for 4 lighting zones. Can you tell I really like to have flexibility over different lighting zones? Back in the woodshop, I wire up these 240 volt 6-30R receptacles, one on each side of the shop, which will power my 3 horsepower dust collector. I'm still not sure where I want to locate the dust collector, so by installing receptacles on both sides, I have some flexibility in either shop layout. On Sunday, I stretch my legs and get out for a long run. Running in the snow is always a bit cold and wet, but in my opinion, beats the dreary brown dead winter without snow any day. Back inside the wood shop, I'm prepping for the finishing trim. The sill for the garage window is cut from a single pre-primed section of pine I had down in my scrap pile. I'm pretty happy with how the window turned out. It's almost like I know what I'm doing now. Next, I trim out the door. This is always a satisfying step, as it really boosts the appeal of the room. I'm trimming out this door with the same craftsman style headers used in the rest of the house. I'm using whatever wood I have downstairs to match the style, which means a few rips are required on the table saw to get everything to final dimensions before I can install the trim. After applying some drywall filler to the nail holes, this door frame is ready to dry overnight. Downstairs, I cut and pre-assemble the frame that will trim out the attic access panel. I've heard that with mitered frames, it's easier to assemble them on the ground with CA glue, as you can get tighter joints than assembling them on site. In order to get a lasting joint, I also apply some wood glue and a frame clamp while it dries overnight. Honestly, this is probably over-engineered for just some attic access panel trim, but it'll be fun to see how it holds up over time. On Monday, I just wanted to show how nice it is in the new woodshop during the day. Having a window in the garage door really lets in some nice light from the west, and the window to the south brightens it up a ton. Best of all, the new window on the south side opens and closes, which will be great for days when I'm applying volatile finishes and need some good ventilation. Tuesday closes out the week with me really failing at a task. In order to finish the jambs between the garage and the sunroom, I need to replace one piece of vinyl flooring. Long story short, I had to cut this piece 3 times before I got it right. The first time, I cut it wrong. The second time, I cut it right, but upside down, so it would only fit with the wood cork side facing up. Finally, as the saying goes, 3rd time's the charm, and I got it done right. Ta-da! As you may notice, this is an extremely thick wall. I think even the Germans would be impressed by this wall. The reason it's so thick is that instead of a single framed 2x4 wall separating the 2 rooms, we have the original brick wall for the exterior of the garage, the original cinder block internal wall of the garage, plus a framed wall in the sunroom and a framed wall in the garage. It makes for a very thick wall, but honestly, this is the only way I could have framing in both the sunroom and the garage for electrical and insulation, so here we are dealing with a door jamb that's nearly 20 inches thick. I've been putting off this finishing trim because I knew it would be a little bit tricky and very custom, but I start with the top piece and work my way around the sides. Thankfully, this top piece is a tight fit. Nearly too tight, but instead of trimming it down by a hair, I opt for getting out some blocking and a hammer and just slam it into place. That's a wrap for week 221. Thanks for tuning in, and until next week, happy renovating.